When you hit in the woods early morning, this time of the year, and you're in a t-shirt to start out, you know it's gonna be a lovely day. It being a gift of a warm day for New Hampshire right now, we're going to take advantage of it, and we're going pretty far out. One, to explore. Two, to take in all the foliage and beauty. And three, to detect. You guys hear me say throughout the season, well, I'm going to put that off till the end of the year, you know, when we go to locations, sites, areas. Well, this is one of them. It's the end of the year and I'm heading back out. I have about a 20-minute walk, which is perfectly fine because it's just awesome. So, let's enjoy it, and let's see what happens. One of the elements that has kept me from furthering myself out here when I was out here is, you see this, all this tall stuff? It ain't bad right now. That's why we're here now. But during the middle of the summer, this old pathway we're going down, all this stuff was waist deep, and when I did brush through, I picked up ticks like you would not believe. They love the tall grass and they're just hanging around waiting to cling on to something. But as you can see, decent. We're getting there, almost where I want to begin and pick up kind of where I left off. But right here, this is one of the things that I found on a previous trip. I know it's dark. There's a wall right there. It's a stretch of wall and it's maybe 100 feet, and that's it. Behind me is terrible. In front of me is terrible. But yet, there's a wall. And these are the kind of things that we find in the abyss. So, that's one thing. Over there, we have the remains of a stone bridge. This thing, or these rocks, are 6 inches thick and almost the size of a sheet of plywood. They're big. And it heads over into the section where we're going that I find really interesting, because the river goes that way, kind of loops around. And over here, there are some rock walls. There's a beautiful cart path that cuts through, but as the river goes around and the cart path goes through, there's another bridge. So instead of them being on that side and just following the river like most of the old wagon trails do, this one intentionally goes over into this section for whatever reason. It's just different. It's enough to be curious and look around. So I'm assuming we're on a peninsula if the river goes up and around and there's two bridges. The cart path down there is like hard cut, shouldered, nice. Here you can barely even see it. But there's walls, there's a way. That's enough for me, so here we go. There might not be anything to be found in the ground. That's all right. We're out here to be out here. There we go with the walls. People were definitely out here. Well, with just a few minutes of walking around, this is interesting out here. So, see, we have our back wall. It goes up, corners off. We are actually inside a small square. It's definitely not improved land. Probably for livestock, but the fact it's a small square, like a couple acres, way out here, definitely means something. And I didn't hear anything within the 10 minutes of figuring out, walking around, that I was walled in. It's all big rocks too. So yeah, these are kind of the things we look for. Small squares out in the middle of it all. And again, with that cart path, so it's up over the backside, probably several hundred feet, passing by. I definitely didn't expect a small square. As you can see, as I move around, the landscape changes rather quickly. I was following this wall to see what happened, and it goes right down into the wet. But does it continue? It does not. Huh. So, all the way up, corner off, and our little square was over there. So we've come way down. This stops. And we're on the edge. Beautiful though. But that does tell us that, at the least, whenever, whoever built these walls, this was wet back then. Because you know how it goes. Sometimes the walls will just go right on through a pond or wetland, and makes it obvious that it's changed. Alright, I guess we'll skim the edge. Yep, our first wheelie. It's in the wood. Yep, classic. Well, at least that one sounds a bit deeper. Oh my God. Wow. A button. A very small, tiny sleeve cuff button. Well, that is awesome, and 6 inches deep. and in the middle of nowhere. So last video out, I went to probably one of the nicest pieces of ground around and killed myself for 4 hours trying to find a button where you think you would have found one. And this is just woods. I followed the wetland until it just disappeared, you know, it pocketed out, and I'm just continuing along in the woods. And there is a crazy old button. Nice. Walk around for a few and there are the signs. That's the second pile of stacked rocks. So the edge, which is still continuing, we've been walking, somebody was doing something. I don't know if they were trying to clear this little spot, but that's 2 piles and a button. Oh yeah, I just swung over the right inch of ground. Look at that. It could be a disappointment, but I'm hoping it could have numbers on it. Let's go big on this one. Oh, it's another button. Wow. I thought it was going to be a coin, but I'm not disappointed by any means by finding another one. Wow, it's thick. Beautiful. Well, somebody was working out here, and it's not very large. As I showed you over there, it just went down into probably what ends up being wetland, and looks pretty much the same all around, but 2 piles of rocks and 2 buttons. That's great. That one was Willie. Well, pretty much quiet all around here. And this is always the way it is out here. Incomplete sections, little bits of walls, little bits of cart paths, stacked rocks, and a couple things to be found. That's why I love coming out here. There's that satisfaction in finding things in situations like this. Just seeing the stacked rocks out here seems bizarre enough. Because whatever they started, they did not finish. Oh, that's a big chunk. Wow. And right behind the piles of rocks, that actually looks really old. The links are flattened, tweaked. It definitely got its use. Well, with that, satisfied. I'm going home. It was a great day, and I appreciate you watching. I will see you next time.